Super thrilled you're tuning in today because, look, we're tackling something that haunts pretty much every student at some point, the universal dread of a failed thesis. We've all heard the horror stories, right? Months, maybe even years of grueling research only to just hit a massive brick wall, stall out entirely, or face a brutal rejection from a review committee. But what if I told you that most of those failures were actually locked in on day one? Today, we're going to unpack a really brilliant roadmap from our source material that completely rethinks how we even approach academic research. We're digging into the precise methodology for designing a thesis topic that simply will not fail.
So if you're feeling a bit anxious about picking your topic right now, I just want you to take a deep breath. We are totally moving past the postmortem of why theses fail, and we're focusing 100% on the blueprint for a successful completion. Because the fundamental question we actually have to ask ourselves isn't what's the most groundbreaking, earth-shattering idea I can think of. It's actually way more practical than that. It's simply, what makes a thesis topic finishable?
All right, let's quickly run through our agenda for today. First, we'll say goodbye to the concept of failed theses altogether. Second, we'll establish 3 universal topic standards. Then, we'll tailor this roadmap to your specific degree, looking at the bachelor's focus on basic training, the master's focus on local innovation, and the PhD's long-term research plan. And finally, we'll wrap up with how to avoid cross-stage traps. Okay, let's jump right into section 1. Say goodbye to failed theses, designing your success. The absolute core philosophy here is that a good thesis is meticulously designed step by step. It is never just born from some random lucky flash of inspiration. And I need to deliver a bit of a hard truth to you right now, because our source material is completely uncompromising on this. A brilliant idea that you cannot finish is simply a bad thesis topic. I want you to really let that sink in. The primary metric for a good topic isn't its absolute genius or its potential to, change the world. It's whether it is practically controllable and completable by you right now with the resources you actually have on hand. In the academic world, execution is literally everything.
Moving right along to section 2, 3 universal topic standards, the baseline for any degree.
You can think of this as your ultimate rule of 3 for academic survival. Number 1, it has to be answerable, meaning it's framed as a crystal clear question. Number 2, it must be completable, perfectly matching your actual real-world practical constraints. And number 3, it's got to be explainable, forming a logical story that is super easy for reviewers to follow. Let's break these down one by one, because this is really where the magic happens. Now, what's incredibly interesting here is the stark contrast between a direction and a problem. You see, a lot of people think picking a topic means just picking a broad direction, like, oh, I want to research artificial intelligence. But here's the thing, a direction is not a problem. To genuinely be answerable, your topic must be a specific, verifiable, and refutable question. If you can't explicitly state what exact problem you're trying to answer, your topic is completely uncontrollable. It's going to spiral right out of your grasp. You need a pinpoint target, not just some general area of interest. Once you finally have that specific question, you have to face the completable reality check. And I want to ask you these directly. Do you actually have enough time to pull this off? Can you genuinely get your hands on the core data, or is it locked behind, say, expensive paywalls or endless corporate red tape? And do your current skills genuinely support this research method? Look, ignoring these 3 practical constraints is the absolute fastest way to derail your entire project. It really doesn't matter how advanced or cool the idea is. If you don't have the time, the data, or the skills, you are setting yourself up for a really painful failure. And that brings us to the 3rd standard, explainable. Logic is always greater than showing off. Ultimately, a thesis is fundamentally a story. Reviewers do not want to decipher massive, convoluted amounts of background context just to figure out what on earth you're doing. Believe me, they don't lack smart, flashy papers. What they are absolutely desperate for are papers with clear logic, an explicit problem, and a conclusion that firmly holds up. If your reviewers are dealing with a huge cognitive load just trying to understand your basic premise, well, you've already lost them. So to ensure you hit all these marks, our source provides this really brilliant exercise. I challenge you to do this 3-sentence self-check right now. Sentence 1, what exact problem am I answering? Sentence 2, what specific method will I use to answer it? Sentence 3, what does this prove once answered? Try to write those 3 sentences out smoothly and clearly. If you stumble at all, or if you find yourself using a bunch of commas and caveats, guess what? Your topic isn't ready. It needs immediate narrowing and refinement. And this brilliantly illustrates our next major shift. Because applying those 3 universal standards we just talked about
looks radically different depending on your specific degree level. A bachelor's is really all about basic training. A master's targets local innovation. And a PhD? That's about massive long-term creation. Let's look a bit closer at how each of these stages operates.
Which brings us to section 3, Bachelor, focus on basic training.
If you're at the undergraduate level, this is your foundational safety zone, where understanding the rules completely beats trying to break them. Just look at these priorities. For an undergrad, the core goal is simply proving you've mastered basic research methods and academic logic. Your primary mission? Controllable completion. The source material actually issues a massive warning here. Blindly pursuing innovation at the bachelor's level is highly dangerous. An understandable, fully completed, and logically sound project is infinitely better, and I guarantee it will grade significantly higher than some highly ambitious, hyper-innovative disaster that you just couldn't finish. Keep it tight, keep it controlled.
Next up, section 4, Master, focus on local innovation.
Now, at the master's stage, the intensity definitely bumps up a notch. You aren't just showing you can use the tools anymore, you actually have to build something slightly new with them. The crucial point here is that a master's student needs to provide a reasonable improvement or an extension to existing knowledge. We call this local innovation. You're refining a very specific problem framework and delivering a verifiable conclusion. Keep in mind, you are not trying to completely rewrite the rules of your scientific field here. You don't need to disrupt the entire industry. You just need to find a small gap in the existing framework and successfully bridge it. Overreaching at this stage is absolutely the #1 cause of unfinished master's theses.
All right, section 5, PhD long-term research plan.
For the PhDs out there, this stage is a massive shift in scope. We're talking about a high-stakes, long-term creative endeavor, where the training wheels are completely off. A PhD thesis isn't really just one big paper, it's essentially a multi-year research strategy. A strong PhD topic has to be broad enough that it can be split up into multiple publishable papers over several years. Yes, you're navigating really high uncertainty, but you do it with phased progression. Choosing a topic where the outcome is a total mystery until year 4, that is an unacceptable risk. You absolutely need a topic that yields publishable results along the journey, so you're constantly validating that massive, overarching creative endeavor.
Which leads us perfectly into section 6, avoid cross-stage traps, the fatal mix-up. Honestly, this is where dreams kind of go to die. But the good news is it's entirely preventable. Misunderstanding your current academic stage leads to inevitable frustration and epic burnout. Listen to this profound insight straight from the source material. The most agonizing failures happen when you use PhD standards for a bachelor's thesis or a bachelor's mindset for a PhD. This is exactly what we were just talking about. If you're an undergrad trying to do multi-year disruptive research, you're going to fail. If you're a PhD candidate just trying to do a basic one-off method application without a larger publishable strategy, you'll also fail. You absolutely must align your ambition and your design perfectly with the specific requirements of your exact degree stage.
As we wrap up this explainer today, I really want you to remember this core takeaway. A successful academic path is intentionally designed, it is never accidental. Finding a topic is not some passive event where you just sit around waiting for inspiration to strike you like lightning. It's an active, highly strategic process. Early, stage-appropriate planning, ruthlessly checking your constraints, and ensuring your topic is a specific, verifiable problem, that right there is your ultimate secret weapon for finishing your thesis on time and doing it with excellence.
So, I'm going to leave you with this final provocative question. I want you to take a step back from your books, close your laptop for a second, and ask yourself right now, does your current topic actually match the specific design and goal of your degree stage? Seriously, apply that 3-sentence test we talked about. Be brutally honest with yourself about your time and your data access. If things don't align, do yourself a favor and change the design now before you go any further. Taking control of that design today is exactly how you guarantee you'll be wearing that graduation gown tomorrow.